Hello, hello, and welcome to my thought on this interesting Sunday. It's very balmy, it's very lovely outside, very lovely. And I took a little walk. I have been reading Betty Friedan's Fountain of Age. It was published in 1993, and she was talking about how young people are terrified of growing old. And of course, I'm there. I'm 86, and I'll soon be 87. And I'm wondering what has made this so wonderful a time for me when for so many people, and I was reading the Quora digest about people that are over 80, and my God, it sounds like a nightmare. And um, and what has happened, because it's not my genetic pool. I don't come from particularly healthy people. I don't go to the gym. I joined 24-hour fitness, but it didn't work because evidently you have to go there. Um, I don't do anything like that. But what I do that is different is I do not try to be young. And I'm reminded of my friend Helen Osterman, who was absolutely lovely. And when her husband died, she was maybe in her middle 70s, which to me, of course, is youth. She was maybe in her middle 70s, and she said, I have nothing to live for anymore. And I think about that now, and I think, my God, I've got so much to live for. I can't wait. And I also have a sense that the ending is going to happen, and so I want to get it all done. I mean, among my many plans, I want to write another book. I have a book coming out end of July, and I'll probably tell you about that once I know a date. Um, I want to try for a PhD. I want to do a theater piece. I can't wait to do that once the theater's open. Uh, lots to do. And when she told me that, I was 48. I had uh, I had been recovering from a very long illness, and it was still beyond my ken to imagine having nothing to live for. At that time, I was trying to be the great American journalist, which I never did, but I kept trying to do it. And I was reminded also as I read this Fountain of Age about how young people are terrified of being old and the vision they get. This young girl who used to give me facials when I thought it would be good to clean up my skin, and she was maybe 30, and she'd already had three breast replacements, and she'd been married. And the reason that she had them was because she didn't want her husband to be bored with her, even though she was not particularly fond of that husband. But she still wanted to be youthful. And I said to her, "Why are you having another breast replacement?" She said, "Well, because they get old. They get old and they get hard. And I know my friend Sandra Risser has had a myriad of breast replacements and facelifts in an attempt to ward off age. And I don't think she's done it. But I haven't seen her, thank God, for 6 years. So I haven't seen what she's done. What she's done. But I think that that the problem is always that we try to be what we're not. And I think that if at my age, at 86, I tried to be an item, I'm not an item anymore. I tried to um, run a marathon. I can't even drag my case to the tube. I get exhausted. I start gasping. If I try uh, to go to wild parties where they're doing lots and lots of drugs, which I've never done, and lots of alcohol, I can now hold one glass of wine, and that's about it. I am raging drunk if I have anything more than that. But I'm not trying to be anything but what I am. And I think that maybe that is the secret to liking uh, the age you are. So I'm just going to give you a little rundown of what it feels like to be 86. The thing it feels like with me, besides I love it, I'm happy with it. Just like I told you yesterday, I'm happy being a woman. I love being a woman, and I love being an 86-year-old woman. But how it feels. I am invisible. I can walk into a store and nobody sees me unless I squeak very loudly. I'm very invisible. People bend over backwards to help me. They take one look at me and bend over backwards to help me. There are innumerable people that insist upon helping me across the street, even when I don't want to go across the street. I remember a man, I was in an Indian restaurant and I asked where the ladies' room is, because another thing that happens when you're 86 is your bladder can hold approximately a thimble full of water before you think you're going to have some kind of terrible accident. So I asked the man where the ladies' room was, and he said, "Oh, it's down some stairs." I said, "Well, I think I can do that. I'm living in London now, and if I can't go up and down stairs, I might as well never leave my flat." And he said, "Oh, well, that's good." And I started walking down the stairs, and I looked over, and he was walking with me. And I was thinking, do I have to take this man into the toilet? I'm fairly liberal, but I've never been introduced to him, and I don't really want him to go in there when I sit on the can. And indeed, he took me right to the booth, and then he went out and told the cook to watch to make sure I came out and I was all right, which he thought was being very kind, and I thought was being extremely patronizing. Um, I know that when I go, I always tell the story of when I was with my friend Julie, and I know when to ask for assistance, and I needed assistance leaving Edinburgh with a large, large suitcase, um, and I needed assistance when I arrived in Euston. And I went to Waverley Station, and I went to the help station with my friend Julie, and she was standing right next to me, and I said to the young man, "I'm going to need assistance when I get to Euston station in London." And he said to Julie, "I'll call ahead to the station." And Julie said, "I didn't ask you." She did. And he said to Julie, "I'll do the best I can for her." And Julie said, "Why don't you tell her?" And he still didn't get it. And so that's how it feels. When I was on a bus not too long ago, a little girl looked at my face and she said, "What are all those things on her face?" And her mother said, "Those are wrinkles." And she said, "Oh my God!" Well, she didn't say, "Oh my God." She was about 6. She said, "Oh, I don't want that to happen to me." And I was thinking, the alternative is not too pleasant. You'll be 6 feet under as soon as you hit 40. But I will end this with my encounter with the butcher at Kazmier's supermarket in Perrysburg, Ohio. He had been sick for about 3 months, and I loved him. His name was Mel. And when I went to the counter when he was finally back, he was visibly diminished. And I looked at him and I said, "Oh my God," I said, "you've gotten older." And he said, "Yep, every day." And that's what I'm doing too. I'm getting older every single day. And thank you so much for joining me for this geriatric thought.